What's up, y'all? Hey, Nick, do you know one time Frank Layden once asked a player, he goes, I don't get you, son. Is it ignorance or is it apathy? He said, the player responded back, he said, Coach, I don't know and I don't care.
Oh wait,
So am I. Get the intro to work.
what up?
What's up, y'all? It is March 11th, 2024. We are the Hoop Historians. I'm Tony Styles. That is unique. Let's get into this day in NBA history. This day in NBA history, March 11th, 2000. Rolando Blackman had his 22 retired I'm sorry, had his 22 retired of the Mavs. At the time, he was only the second player ever in Mavs history behind Brad Davis to have this number retired. Since then, it's been Derek Harper and Dirk Nowitzki. Why do you think guys like Derek Harper and Rolando Blackman and Brad Davis have their number retired over guys like Steve Nash and Michael Finley?
Mm, could be different reasons. It could be what they meant for the organization itself, or for a particular organization that decided that they wanted to retire the jersey. Could be tenure. It could be how long they played for the team. It could be favoritism. I don't know. I think players like, let's say like a Nash or something like that. I think it's just a matter of time before a player like that ends up getting their jersey retired. But that's my take. I think it's more so they maybe their hometown, hero or something like that. So I think there's different factors like that.
Well, that
What do you
was
think?
this day in NBA. I was gonna say, well, I don't know. I don't even have a reason. I think Nash should have his number retired. So should Finley. More so, even Finley. That is this day in NBA history.
Uh,
Day now. Come up,
you
man.
ready?
It's running slow today.
Uh,
Hopefully, I don't even know. But we'll just say that was this day in NBA history now. I guess the graphic ain't coming up. If it
you just
does,
did.
oh well. Um. So
You cut out
now
if
I
you said
saw it.
something.
Yeah, no, I just saw the graphic now.
Oh wow.
Hey, real quick, what do you got to say about this, Sneak?
Let me go. I'm not using here for that. Oh snap. What do I think about what?
What do you think of this? We're done with the '90s. What do you think of this? We're done with the '90s movement.
How do I feel about it? I mean, all
Yeah,
right, so it's funny, right? It's funny because I grew up in the 90s. You feel me? I grew up in the early 2000s. I'm an 80s baby. So I completely understand growing up in that time. I remember watching
you
basketball
consider
in that.
stuff. Yeah, do you do you consider yourself growing up in the '80s too?
Nah, because I was too little to consider myself growing up in the 80s because I was born in 85. So, I didn't technically grow up in the
Yeah.
80s because I'm still like a toddler. But what I was gonna say though
Okay.
is I've seen the difference in errors and everything like that. So with that being said, I understand why there's preferences with each era as far as why this, era or why this demographic and why this decade likes this era and vice versa. Am I done with it personally? Nah. Like I feel like good players is good players no matter what decade, no matter what era they from. So I'll talk about any era as long as the players themselves, I guess their style of play can translate in this era, in any era, I should say, or transcend, I should say.
Right. So you're saying you're not done with the 90s.
Nah, I'm not done with the '90s necessarily. I understand the movement, but I ain't necessarily on that train. I just, I stay in my lane.
Well, what's crazy is I don't know how you can be done with any decade to get where we're at. And here, and actually, I have a fun little game to prove my point.
Okay.
Um, if you want to do this, so how can I play this game or whatever? Because I for one am not done with the '90s. My favorite player was '90. My favorite shoes were from the '90s. My favorite fashion was from the '90s. My favorite memories are probably from the '90s. As a little kid and things like that. So yeah, that's not at all where I'm at. Um, because I wasn't even around for the '50s, but we can't be done with the '50s either because that led us into the '60s, '70s, '80s. Built us to where we're
Right.
at. So, but anyways, yeah. So I want to play this game. It's going to be called Face of the Franchise. I want you to do when I say a team, you think of what player do you think of when you think of that player.
Okay. Hold on, real
Um,
fast. Let me hold on. All right, go ahead.
I said I'm gonna say a franchise. What
Mhm.
franchise? What player do you think of when I say
Right.
that franchise? There's no wrong answer. It's generally your opinion.
Yeah, I get you. I'm with
So okay, so because maybe a couple franchises got a couple different people you can think of or whatever, depending on who you're with, when you're there, whatever. So let's just go with the Suns.
Barkley. Just any player, right?
You
I ain't
think of
got.
Barkley.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Doesn't matter. Just when you think of Suns, the player you think of is Barkley, and I understand why because that was the Suns' first real superstar. Brought the Suns to more a mainstream media level with other pointed out that hey, actually this is a pretty big populated city, that kind of thing. Um, started getting other franchises here such as baseball, hockey, and hockey in the desert's hard, bro.
That's
Uh,
crazy, right? I wondered
but
about that
yeah,
actually.
so yeah, yeah, hockey in the desert's crazy. But anyways, okay, so boom, so there's one franchise. So when you think of that franchise, you think of the '90s. That's when you think of maybe the height of the Suns or whatever makes you associate it. You think of the '90s. Boom.
You know
Okay,
what?
so let's move on. The Lakers. What's up?
I was gonna say, the Suns have way too many players, and the funny thing is, the Lakers will be the same. So it's like the players that come to my head. I don't know if subconsciously it has to do with the decade and the era, or if it's just those particular players just pop in my head when I think of the team. I don't know which one, but whichever way you want to look at it is fine. But back to your question about the Lakers, Kobe.
Okay, so what I was gonna say though is that's kind of my point. So the like my grandparents or whatever, they would probably think of the Barkley years. That's what they probably would remember fondly. And so when they would think Suns, that would probably Barkley. They would probably do something like that. Um, so all I'm saying is you wouldn't be the only person that thought like that. So obviously, multiple people. You can't say we done with the '90s. Maybe
Hmm.
you should say I'm done with the '90s. I guess is the point that I'm making. And if you're done with
Right.
the '90s, then you're casual. Nobody's trying to argue that players are better or whatever. Just these players are great. That's the only point being made. They're great. They did great things in their time. Point blank, nobody's saying they
Yeah.
didn't. If you're trying to argue players haven't developed, you're crazy. 'Cause players clearly have developed. But okay, so Kobe, boom. So Kobe, you could say 2000s, you could even say 2010s if you want, but you could also say 90s.
Hmm.
When you're thinking a little, when you're thinking Froby, you're thinking probably late '90s and
Right.
stuff, and that's a fond Kobe memory. You might be thinking bald-headed Kobe who won the dunk contest and all that. So I don't know, but yeah. So there's another '90s.
Gotcha.
That's 2 for 2. What about the Clippers? Huh?
When I when I think Clippers, Griffith, I think Blake Griffith.
Okay, cool. So there's not a '90s one. So there's 2 for 1. What about the Kings?
I think of Weber.
Weber. Weber was there in the '90s. 3 for 1. What about the Warriors?
Wilt. Shock you, right?
Do you really think of Wilt?
I do, actually. I
That's
think of Wilt, then
fucking
I think
nuts.
Steph.
Okay.
Right, right. But here's the thing. When you
That's
said Warrior,
crazy.
that wasn't the first thought that popped in my head. It was Wilt. I'm a
But
for the
Wilt's
record,
played
for
on
the
so many
record,
teams.
for the record, I'm a much bigger Steph fan than Wilt, obviously, but
I know
that's the
that's just
name
so
that popped in
weird.
my head. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so that's 3 for 2. Cool. When you think of the Blazers, who do you think of?
Dame,
Name. Okay, so there's 3 and 3. When you think of the Sonics/Thunder, who do you think of?
Kemp,
4. Uh, with the Jazz, who do you think of?
Malone,
5 and 3. And then with the Nuggets,
Melo,
5 and 4. What about the Timberwolves?
Garnett,
6 and 4. What about the Grizzlies?
Bibby. Wait, not Bibby. Stoudemire.
Stoudemire with the Grizzlies. Okay, so that's 6 and that's what 6, 7. Then who do we got? We got okay. What do you think of the Hornets or the Pelicans?
Hornets of the Pelicans, Larry Johnson.
Well, just the Pelicans. Oh, I guess no. I guess just the Pelicans
The
because
Pelicans,
that'll be on the
David.
Charlotte one.
The Pelicans, Anthony Davis.
Okay. Okay. And they came then after, if you want to count that, then they came after the '90s, anyways. So they're not even a '90s option for them. What about the Rockets?
The Dream, Hakeem Olajuwon.
And then what about the Mavericks?
Dirk,
Okay, there's another one. And then what about the Spurs?
Tim,
So that's what 12, 12 out of that conference. And I'm sure if we do the next one, it'll probably be the same. And just to run through it, let's do it again. Orlando, who do you think of?
Shaq.
Okay, there's another one. Miami.
Wade.
Wait, okay, so there's one for no. Atlanta.
Um, Trey. Trey Young.
Wow. Okay, so there's that one. Okay, now there's the Hornets.
Huh?
Now there's the Hornets.
The Hornets. I said Larry Johnson.
Yeah. Well, I just made sure that we're doing that again. We've got Charlotte. So there's 2. Oh, and then the Wizards/Bullets.
This is gonna be funny. The Bullets. I think of Jawan Howard. Um, the Wizards, Jordan.
Okay, we'll even split it up. We'll say 3 and 3. Fuck it. Uh, okay, what about the Knicks?
Starks,
What about the Nets?
Kidd, Jason Kidd,
What about the Sixers?
Iverson,
What about the Celtics?
Larry, Larry Bird, or Larry Legend, as they like to call him.
And what about the Raptors?
T Mac,
See, you know, it's crazy. I would think of Vince Carter, but I feel you. I think that's another sad thing. Why don't they have Carter's jersey retired yet?
I actually, when they
Um,
played the Raptors, I liked T Mac better than Vince Carter.
Dog, when I saw that dude was blocking 2 shots a game, coming off the bench mostly at only 31 minutes off the perimeter, I was like, dude, we're shooting like a crazy percentage, getting dope rebounds from the perimeter. I was like, man, this dude is awesome.
Mhm. Yeah,
You know
he
what I
was
mean? He was just
nice.
in like an analytic, yeah, he was just like an analytics dream back then. Especially when he broke down his per minute production. It's crazy. Um, okay, so that's that. Okay, so what about the Bulls?
Mike again,
Okay, what about the Bucks?
Giannis,
What about the Pacers?
Reggie,
What about the Cavs?
LeBron,
Then what about the Pistons?
Isaiah.
Okay, so basically that's like 22 that you associate that played in the 90s. How could we possibly be done with the 90s?
Right. So there you have it. 90s is they're ingrained in
And
our
how
brain.
big a portion? How big a portion would you right? And how big a portion would you say that is?
How big a portion of my brain is the 90s ingrained in?
N- No, 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 no. Like, what portion would you say, like, where we are on what level we're not done with the 90s would make up the 100% people that
Oh,
watch the NBA?
oh, out of the 100 that watch the NBA, how many are not done with the 90s? Probably about a good like
Yeah,
60-70% of us are not done with the 90s.
right. Because I think even if you are a basketball nerd, born, 2000 or whatever, and you're in analytics, like if you were me, born 20 years later, whatever, 15 years later, um, you would fall in love with just like certain people and eras and want to watch them and you hear about them and things like that. So analytically, but he was just my favorite player to watch as a kid was Larry Johnson. And so I always associate him with the Hornets. And their most funnest team just with like guys like Kenny Gill, Muggsy Bogues, Dell Curry, Alonzo Mourning, Larry Johnson. It's just like 220 and 10 guys. It's just nuts. With a full 5-3 point guard throwing it up and him jamming it. And Larry was only like 6'5", playing the power forward, which is dope to watch. So I don't know how we could possibly be done with the 90s.
It was a fun era. It really
Thoughts, comments,
was.
concerns?
Mine, the 90s, I mean, it's very hard to be done with the past when we're still seeing what it created. For instance, endorsements and everything. Obviously, endorsements didn't start in the 90s, but they blew up in the 90s. So the fact that we're seeing players who are able to go with these companies like take Steph for instance, who's able to go with an unknown company, create a shoe and sell what 150 to 210 a pair with an unknown company. And it's because from what we were seeing in the 90s, they were showing players how to do more than just play. They had a certain work ethic and they displayed that, but then they also were businessmen too. So it was a lot of lessons that was being taught in the 90s. Players that should have been getting money weren't making any money. So it taught the players in the 2000s what to do and how all of this ties in my opinion, is goes back to the past. We can't ignore the past when we're still using the lessons from yesterday. You feel me?
How philosophical.
I'm done. It's just
That's why
real.
we went to you. That's why. No, I feel you. I felt moved by it. So, do you want to talk about these number one picks of all time, or what do you want
Yeah,
to do?
we can do that. He said, "What do you want to do?" So what you want to do? Want to be ballers? Talk
What's
about these ballers. Yeah.
I got
So
12 possibles. What do you? Let's go like try to do a top 10. Want to?
top 10. Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, and then
We're probably gonna have a lot of the same players if we doing the top 10 which is fine. But yeah.
what's good, Cam?
What up, Cam? Killer. You got first of all, before we even get into your top 10,
Yeah,
12 or whatever, did you have any like honorable mentions? Did you have any that were like could have been?
I guess whoever. I guess I guess that don't get into my top 12 would be. I guess the two that don't get into the top 10 are the honorable mentions, but we can do other honorable
Okay, that's
mentions.
cool. That's cool. That's fine.
I mean, just to get draft, I'll put it this way: I'll put it this way, even if you're Anthony Bennett, you know what I mean, just to score a couple baskets in a game and go to 4 training camps, just get that's an extreme low percentage of people that get that, and he is by
Fair.
far the worst number one draft pick of all time.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, even so, it's an extreme blessing and all that. And like I said, Anthony Bennett. There's other people that are kind of like mundane that had like a few good seasons, mostly not so underachieved, whatever. Like like Olo Candy. He's kind of like at the bottom tier, but he's not the worst. Not clearly not the best. So I think he'll just kind of fade into existence. I don't know why
Yeah.
Kwame Brown gets so much Kwame Brown level. Like I said, Anthony Bennett is way worse. But yeah, so I
The
don't know. I mean, how
expectations,
many
I
people
feel
you got?
as far as that's not in my top 10 but could have been.
Or what you want to over the expectations?
Say it again.
Yeah,
So as far as who could have been in my top 10 and they did not make it, Iverson is one. Um, I feel as though as a player he did phenomenal, but the reason he's not on my list is because he wasn't able to achieve the level of success that I think was expected of him, and then also the fact that he never got the title. We saw an MVP season out of him, but we watched his career also start to fade a little bit, start to fizzle out a little bit. The way that his career ended, things of that nature, are part of the reason why I don't have Iverson on my top list. I do like what he was doing as a rookie though, and that's the reason why I held him high like I do. Like rookie season, averaging 23.5, 4.1
yeah,
rebounds as a guard, you feel me? 7.5 assists, so stuff like that. Watching him get rookie of the year and everything like that, finals MVP, scoring titles, stuff like that, all NBA teams, all-star teams, things like that are the reason why I held him high, but I couldn't put him in the top 10. But he's my biggest honorable mention.
I have him in like the 10 to 12 range. Could really talk me into any one of those three numbers.
Stare.
What about nobody else? You ain't got nobody else that was a good one?
Um when I think greats, let me think who do I got. Make sure let me go through, make sure I ain't missing nobody. Another honorable mention.
How about this? Where you got Dwight Howard?
Is he on my top 10 though? Dwight Howard. I don't even know if Dwight Howard's in my top 25. And it goes back to like kind of like with the Iverson
Number
thing.
one
We saw,
picks.
hmm,
He's not in your top 25 number one picks.
I don't know. I don't know.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know. The expectation, the bar that was set for him, I don't feel as though he really achieved it. At least at the level that I wanted. You feel me? He was a phenomenal like talent to watch. But him, once again, how did his career end? What do people recall about the way his career ended?
I don't know. He won a title at the end.
He won a title at the end. That was after going to what? A LA team that was already in contention.
Still contributed.
And that's fine. I'm not trying to diminish that or take away from that. But a stacked team like that or a team like that, like I said, that's already in contention, even if you're a good player, you feel me? It's like, for instance, it's almost, and this is no shade to him. It's kind of like the Robert Ory effect, not necessarily with the white, but in my mind, it's kind of like a similar thing where it's like he has all these titles. Yes, he contributed. Yes. Do we attribute any of these titles to him? And that's my issue with Howard. He did win with the Lakers, but I don't attribute that title to him.
Yeah,
So that's the
but the
difference.
difference with that is though is Howard was widely considered the second best player in the league for about a 4 year span. He was able to be the best player on a finals team. He was on all NBA teams. He was on all star teams. He was like winning, defensive player of the year awards. He was second MVP voting a few times. So he was leading the league in blocks and rebounds, in field goal percentage, and just all these individual things. So that would be the big difference. He was just
Those
not able that
individual
like
votes.
A plus level. Yeah, he's just not that all. He's just not that player that could be like those all time stat dudes with winning a title. He's just like that level below. But Ori, he's like multiple levels below. He's only good in like one area, and that's at the very end of the game. Other than that, he kind of just seems to drift and float and all that.
I wasn't trying to disrespect Dwight's game though by comparing him to Ori. I was more so stating that at that point where he won a title, it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same as had he won in Orlando or had he been that same player that he was in Orlando winning. That's all I was saying.
I agree. I'm just saying he's like to me he had like kind of like a Barkley esque type career.
Mm,
And if Barkley would have won some title, some BS title, a couple years down the road as like the eighth best man, I still would have helped his legacy more than hurt it.
fair, but I
Hmm.
guess it depends on
It's
how a
like Kenny
person is
could.
drinking.
What's like this? It's like Kenny couldn't talk shit to him for doing it the way he does now,
Right.
right?
Yeah, no, that's real. That's real.
Like, bro, I contributed like you did. So, yeah.
No.
So him, so Iverson, Dwight, and this next person all had the 10 to 12 range for me.
Okay.
And the next one up was Ewing.
Okay.
And the next one up was Ewing. Where do you have Ewing?
Ewing is just outside of my top 10 as well. I figured Ewing would be in
Holy
yours,
shit.
but what?
I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
like
bro. Like, dude, your top 10's getting crazy.
Ewing's on
You
my
got
top
three
15.
dudes. I thought all were, and
Ewing's on
then you
my
got
top
some not
15.
in your top 25. Go ahead.
Ewing might be in my top 15. But yeah, I don't have him in my top 10.
Who's higher,
Ewing
Ewing or
was
Iverson
another
to
one
you?
who's higher. As far as greatness, probably Ewing. Ewing, Iverson had a lot of individual accomplishments and everything like that, but Ewing had more team success. So I think that's why Ewing showed consistent team success, whereas Iverson had
Mhm.
his run and everything like that. I feel like Iverson's a better individual player, or I prefer Iverson as an individual player, I'll say. But Ewing, I don't know if it was the fact that Ewing had such a stacked team, he had all of those different pieces, or it was his style of play that contributed the most to his victories. But I edged Ewing over Iverson though in terms of greatness for that number one spot.
Are you trying to say that basically what Ewing does equates to more wins on a 5-on-5 basketball game?
Yeah, but I don't even think it's just what I'm saying. I think that's kind of proven. Ewing versus AI is interesting. Yeah, and I
Hey,
feel that because
hey, I was gonna say real quick, if you switch their careers, put Ewing on that, 01 Sixers team, you put Iverson on that 94 Knicks team, what do you think happens?
at that point, I think it really depends on if the Knicks has a center, because the Knicks had a lot of pieces. And Iverson is more than likely going to get you the same amount of points as a Ewing, maybe even more. But then he's not going to give you nearly as many blocks or rebounds or anything like that. And those things can translate into points on the other end, or even for offense. So I guess I feel as though Ewing going to Philly would have helped Philly more than Iverson going to New York, at least that New York team. They didn't have players that was technically doing what Iverson was doing, but they were kind of guard heavy a little bit. They had some decent guards, I say, uh, but they lose size. Whereas Philly, they lose a ball dominant guard, but they gain an offensive beast that's Ewing. You feel me? That's also gonna bang on boards and get blocks and things of that nature. So he's also a defensive player. So they gain a score and a defensive player. So I feel as though more success for Philly. That would be a better trade for Philly, in my opinion. What you think? You got quiet?
Topple the 01 Lakers. No, but would it be enough to topple the 01 Lakers to you?
Putting Ewing with Matumbo.
Hmm.
If somebody else stepped up, maybe. No, no, no. Actually, no, no, because the Matumbo that was playing wasn't the type of Matumbo that was going to. He wasn't the Matumbo that was going to give you what you needed offensively, to compete with a Shaq and Kobe in that LA lineup. You
He can get
know,
you
it,
15.
that's not going to be enough though. Like we need, if
I don't
Ewan
know. I'm
went
just saying
there,
he gets you. Well, you can get you 30. You can get you 30. You can get you 30.
Ewan can
Matumbo
get
gets
you
you
30.
15.
But they would need somebody that's going to
So
get
hold
you
on. So
20, 25.
yeah, but I'm saying, but can everybody else cover that was already in the lineup?
I
Can
mean,
Raja
we
Bell go
already
from 3 a game to 10? You know what I mean? Things like that.
I mean, Raja Bell realistically could he? Yeah, he could realistically, but with in this hypothetical scenario, if they all just did what they were already doing, it wouldn't have been enough. If we would have added Ewan, we already know what Ewan's going to do. Like you said, Ewan can get you 30, so we could even average Ewan out at 30. That's still not going to be enough. If everybody else on Philly did what they were already doing, what the Shaq versus Ewing.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
You
Because
can
here's
get
the thing:
fine.
Prime Ewing was like 89, 90. 1991. So Prime Ewing never played Shaq. I'm talking about Prime Ewing. Get you 30.
Yeah, Prime you ain't. Yeah, and then also that too. That too. Prime Iverson was at probably like 31 a game.
That playoff run, I think he got you 33 points on
Like,
32 shots. Just awful efficiency.
and he wouldn't. And let's be
Abysmal.
real. On that New York team, he wouldn't get that many shot attempts on that New York team because they, like I said, they had some other
Hmm.
guards. They had some shooters and stuff like that. So his shot attempts would have gone down, which would have also dropped his average. Whereas I think Ewing would have been consistent. I think Ewing, wherever team he went to, I think his shots, his attempts are going to stay the same. And I think he's going
Yeah.
to pretty much do the same on the boards. He's going to do the same as far as blocks go. So,
Which is going to lower the
yeah.
other team's possessions and their field goal percentage and all
Mhm.
kinds of other things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Force them to
So
bad
once
worse
again, I
shots.
feel yeah, so yeah, I feel like once again in this hypothetical scenario, the Philly, the Sixers, they will win, replacing Iverson with
Damn.
yeah, with Ewing.
That's crazy. Too
That's
much
how we
size
got
for
there.
you and
That'd be
throw
nuts
two
though.
Hall of Famers. All right. Well, I'm going to go Ewing in my 10th place. Who you got in your 10th place?
In my 10th place, you know what? I actually this is gonna be funny, but there's a reason. So I have Davis. I have Anthony Davis in my 10th place. The reason I have Anthony Davis in my 10th place is because he's a champ. He is a champ. He's one of those players that's when he's feeling it, it's very difficult to guard Anthony Davis because he started off playing basketball as a point guard. You feel me? So he has point guard instincts and everything like that. See, that's respectable numbers though. 21, 4, 10. Although that's not gonna be enough, like I was saying against Shaq, it's not enough. But
But that's what I'm trying to say. But hold on. That's also his averages when he played with the Sonics, when he played with the Magic, all that kind of stuff.
you said the Sonics, or you meant the Suns?
Mm-mm. The Sonics when Patrick Ewing played with the Sonics.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Shaq. All right, my bad.
No, I'm talking about. I'm saying what Prime Ewing were doing. Prime Ewing was before Shaq even got in the league.
Mhm.
He had lost something athletically a little bit by the time Shaq's rookie year came.
So,
Tell
but
me what
anyway,
Davis. No, but go back to your 10th.
yeah, my 10. So Anthony Davis. I'll be brief. So we got Anthony Davis. He's like I say, he's a champ. He wasn't one of those players who just rode coattails to a title. You feel me? When they won, Anthony Davis was a large part of their success when they won in LA. Also, it was even arguments on whose team it was at that point. Is this LeBron's team? Is this Davis' team? Anthony Davis, like I said, when he's there to play, he's giving you 24 and 10 with a couple of blocks in a steal. He's made several all-star teams. He's made all NBA teams. He's an all-star. So that's why I have Anthony Davis at my number 10.
Other than the champ thing, he just couldn't do it. As the man, and neither could Anthony Davis.
Said it again.
Couldn't we put Ewing over Anthony Davis?
Ewing could go
Because
over.
all the things you said about Anthony Davis, yeah, I'm saying why didn't you though? That's what I'm asking.
I didn't put Ewing because he didn't win. Like for me, that was big as far as who I was putting in my top 10. But do I think Ewing is potentially a greater player?
Got you.
Yeah, I think Ewing's a greater player than Anthony Davis. But for number one
Got
pick,
you.
you feel me? This is what you got from
Okay.
Davis.
I got you. I feel you. All right. Who you got coming in? Because I ain't got him at all. Like I said, we got Ewing. Who I got Ewing. Who you got coming in at 9?
Number nine, I'm sure you probably do have. I have Elgin Baylor coming in at number nine. No
Oh, I got
average.
him at 8, dog.
You got him at eight. Okay, okay.
I got him at 8. Okay, keep going.
All right. So, I have actually Robertson. I have him at my number. I'm sorry. I have Oscar Robertson at my number eight. Keep going.
I got him at 7.
You got him at
No,
I wonder. I
no,
wonder
no.
where you
I'm
got.
saying, tell me. No, tell me why you. Oh, tell me why you got Baylor at 9.
Um. So with Baylor, what I liked about Baylor is for one, Baylor, he's winning MVPs. Let me see. Baylor won. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I take that back. He's an All-Star MVP. He's made 10 All NBA teams. He's played in 11 All-Star games. He had an average throughout his career 27.4 points, 13.5 rebounds, 4.3 assists. So basically, this is a double double king walking around. Like I said, I don't know, he's one of them underrated players. Basically, he's one of them players that do grind work. So that's why I got Baylor at number nine.
See, I had him at number 8 because, like, when it comes to crazy NBA numbers, the triple double, the Oscar triple double, the Wilt 50-point season, all these other wild numbers.
And also
Elgin Baylor's on that list too. 38-20. What's up?
now I was gonna say Baylor's he's if I'm not mistaken, if he's not the only, he's a player that got 60 in both a regular season and a playoffs. That's not something that many
Yeah.
players can do.
Yeah, like,
Like,
by the numbers, just so many different years. He had like a great case to be like, an MVP. The year he retired in the middle of the year, like 8 games in or whatever he played, they won the title, and it was just all these weird, like, breaks of the game, I guess. Just wrong place, wrong time for him. But his numbers, his just, just all of it, matches up with anybody.
hmm.
So yeah, that's why I had him at 8th. Okay, so who'd you have at 8th?
At eighth, I have Oscar Robertson. I have, the triple
Okay,
double
so I got him at
machine.
7th. So
The
I
OG.
so I got him at 7th. So why do you got him at 8th?
Probably for the same reason you have him at seven. You asking me why he's not higher on my list?
I'm just
I
asking you to
mean,
just break it down for the audience.
okay, okay.
Tell them
So,
what they
like
don't
I was
know
saying,
about the Big O.
the Big O is the original triple double master. Um, let's see, in his first 5 seasons, he's averaging 30 points, giving you 10 assists. Um, dang, I can't even see how many rebounds he had. But he is the first player, like I said, to average a triple double season. He had 30.8 points, 12.5 rebounds, 11.4 assists, and this is during a 62 season. So, like I said, he paved the way as far as the triple doubles go, and that was his thing. This again, this is another grinder. Love grinders. But yeah, I know. For your number seven, I'll
Through
let you
his
speak
first
more
5
into it.
seasons, he through his first 5 seasons, he was averaging a triple double. He
Hmm.
um he was able to get an MVP when only big men were getting MVPs at that time. He went and helped a young Kareem, clearly the second best player on the team, win a title. So while he wasn't able to overcome, nobody faulted him on that because back then just nobody, no guard could win, best player, whatever. You had to be at least a certain height.
Hmm.
So that's why I got him a little higher.
That's fair.
Eighth. Tell me who you got at seventh.
I have the Admiral at number seven. David Robinson.
Ooh, I got him at ninth.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So, two-time champ. The fact that Robinson was able to turn the Spurs team around. He when he wasn't playing a 21-61 team, he comes back, he plays and turns them into a 56-26 team. MVP, you feel me? He's got multiple defensive wait, he has 8 all defensive teams is what I meant.
Yeah.
Defensive player of the year. He also got an
Multi-time.
MVP,
Yeah.
uh, reasons like that. He's one of the only players to get a quadruple double.
He is.
Yeah. You want to
So why I got him
expand
a little
on?
lower.
You got him lower?
Why,
Okay.
why, why I got him a little. Yeah. Why I got him a little lower is all those things are great. Um, he did come in at 24, so obviously he was more ready than a lot of players. Um, also
Shout out to
too.
him for doing his service.
also too. It just always seemed like he folded in the big game. Like, one of the number one picks just completely embarrassed him. And it looks like he just wasn't meant for the big game. So this is really just more of an eye test. If it was just a record thing, he'd probably be higher. But the eye test watching what he did with some of the players, or just like he's not that A guy. He's a level lower.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, so who do you got then coming in at sixth?
At 6, I got the Diesel, Shaq Diesel. Um, man,
Okay, I got
what
him
can I say?
fifth.
You got Shaq fifth. Okay. Um, I mean, what can be said about Shaq that people don't already know? Hold on, let me see. Let me get my numbers. What's Shaq average? So we got Shaq with 4 titles, 3 MVPs, or Finals MVPs, I should say. Um, 15 All-Star appearances, 14 All NBA selections, 3 All Defensive selections. So things like that, Rookie of the Year, things like that. Shaq is one of the most unstoppable players we've ever experienced and ever witnessed in the game of basketball. Shaq is one of them dudes who can easily get you
You know what's crazy?
25 and hmm,
You know what's crazy?
what's that?
If you're looking, I tell you, what's crazy is if you're looking for, like, let's say you're doing an all-time draft of like all-time great players, you can draft every
Mhm.
version of everybody of you know what I'm saying. And if you were looking for shot blocking and rebounding Shaq, you would pick rookie Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, but yeah, so
Isn't that
things like
nuts?
that.
So like, the rookie version is one of the best versions in a way.
Yeah, the rookie version of Shaq because he was just as he was aggressive, he was very energetic, he was a powerful guy. You feel me? He was still a dominant presence, except he had more agility. Because even though to us
Hmm.
now rookie Shaq looks slim, he didn't look slim when he was a rookie, and he definitely didn't look slim compared to the other NBA players. And I'm sure they didn't feel like he was slim. So
Hmm.
Shaq was always a force from day one.
Well, there we go. I guess that's why I got him at fifth. Who you got at fifth?
Um, okay. So my number five is the Dream, Hakeem Olajuwon.
I got him at
This is
sixth.
got him at six. Okay.
Hmm.
So Hakeem Olajuwon, what you get with Hakeem Olajuwon is you get an MVP. You get someone who, let's see, as a center, he'll get in the top 10 for steals and blocks. He's the only player to win Defensive Player of the Year, MVP, and Finals MVP in the same season. That was in '94. He's another one of those players, like I was mentioning with Shaq, where you really can't do much with him as far as defensively. You can't really stop him when he's on his offense. Is good luck. You feel me? He has the, the hook. He has the lateral movement. He has the he can posterize you.
Yeah,
He
with
just
lateral movement.
yeah. So this is a two-way player, and he's a large player at that. A two-way center. So yeah, that's why I have Keem Olajuwon at my number five.
Yeah, if this was just like best peak, whatever, Hakeem would be one for me. I swear to God, Hakeem is still the best player I've ever seen with my eyes. Just for not only how good he looked, but what he did against the competition and what the competition was supposed to be. It was just crazy. But yeah, the only reason why I got Shaq is, Shaq's just got two more rings. It's just the four rings versus the two, and Shaq was undoubtedly the three
I think with the top,
one.
I think with
But
the
like,
top 10,
Steph wasn't his fault, like injuries or whatever. What's up?
I was just gonna say, I think with the top 10, um, there's very little
What'd
argument
you say?
for anybody outside of the top, I guess, two or three. Like within the top 10, I think everybody can be moved around. However,
Yeah,
and it'd be legit. But I ain't mean to cut you off.
yeah, right. No, 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 no. I feel you on that. Okay. Well, then who do you got at no? Hey, I got a question.
Mhm.
Here's how good Hakeem is, though. I will say this: do you look back and do you blame Houston for taking Hakeem over Jordan?
No, no. Um, Let me say this. I don't know. I mean, with Jordan's dedication and the way Jordan proved to be like the caliber of a player, like, and I don't just mean skill wise, I mean like the determination that Jordan has proven to display. I can see that causing him to be able to win with Houston, but I don't think that that's a given. I don't think that Jordan going to I don't think that Jordan going to the Rockets instead of the Bulls necessarily means victory, necessarily means championship. I think Hakeem, whatever you want to call him, I think Hakeem would have eventually been a champion on any team. And I'm not saying that I don't feel that way about Jordan as well, but I do not necessarily feel as though I'm confident Jordan would have turned that Rockets team into champs. Unless, he would have ended up with the same pieces if it worked out the same way where he ended up with that same '94 team, that same '95 team may be. But once again, this was a guard heavy team as well. So I don't know that he ends up with all that help. Elijah Wan, though, I feel as though wherever you put him on whatever team, it was going to equate to a championship at some point. You got why you hear me? Well then, Mr. Styles looks like Tony Styles is having some technical difficulties. I think we lost Tony. Well, while we're waiting on him, yeah, I just want to apologize, take this time to say sorry for the technical difficulties. See, we give this man another moment. There we go.
Did you just lose me, or did the stream keep going?
The string kept going, but you were lost.
Oh damn! All right, yeah,
So
my
yeah, I
fault,
was
y'all.
waiting in here.
Okay, so what were we
And
on?
we're on number four.
Okay, so who do you got fourth?
For number four, I have Duncan. I have Tim Duncan. He did the
Me
same
too.
thing. You got him as number four.
Yeah.
So the thing about Tim Duncan is he did the same turnaround that David Robinson did, where he was able to in his rookie season um, turn 20 wins into 56. He throughout his career every season and got at least 50 wins and 19 seasons and what's going on? What's that? Big Pontiac? What's going on? Big Pontiac? Um, Duncan, 19 seasons in the league, 15 seasons he was an all-star, 15 times he was a all defensive player, 15 times he was all NBA, multiple championships. Go ahead. I know Tim is your man. I'm gonna let you take this one up.
Well, first off, like some of those all stars he missed was because of like the lockout. I really feel like he was an all star every season. Whatever his production said, he meant so much more to the team than that. There's a reason why he could come in and give you 8 points and 6 rebounds, and just matters so much, and the team still wins 67 games. Which was a record for them at the time, and still, and probably won't be touched anytime soon. And people go, "Oh, well, he had a good coach." Well, you see, his coach has been losing since he's left. His coach was losing before he got there. Manu Ginobili was a second round pick who mostly came off the bench. If he was so great, he would have started more than would have came off the bench. Like, Michael Jordan wouldn't come off the bench. Kobe wouldn't come off the bench. Or Ray Allen wouldn't. You get my point. Um, so yeah, same thing with Parker. So Duncan really made those, low draft pick. Tim, the focus on Tim is what made them so great. The cutting, the screening, the passing from the post, the low post passing. I mean, it was just amazing. The passing on the cut, it was just the give and go. It was just great. It was just really pretty basketball. Anyways, if you like that, if you like boring fundamental, but it was effective, and that's the whole point. Um, Yeah, and the winning just got to count so much, and it just shows it was Tim with the winning because they quit after that, and they had done it before and since then they've been winning 50, and they had guys like David Robinson and George Gervin and Kawhi, and just hate to say.
Yeah, I mean, that was Mr. Team Basketball. And
Hmm.
the fact that he's able to, like you're saying, take these lower level draft picks and turn them into championships, to turn them into champions the way that he did. That's not something that all players can do, no matter what their talent level is. That takes a certain effort. That takes a certain mindset. So yeah, definitely got to give it up to Tim for that.
Also, the ultimate plug and play. Also, the ultimate plug and play superstar. Like anybody can come from any team at any role and become dangerous on the Spurs. Matt Bonner wasn't being dangerous anywhere else. He wasn't dangerous on the Raptors. He was dangerous on the Spurs. Bruce Bowen was so much dangerous on the Spurs than he was anywhere else. Kind of trying to say.
Danny Green was amazing.
Yes. Yes, and it's all because of Duncan. So yeah, definitely got him at 4 as well. Who you got at 3?
Okay, so number three, I have Magic. Magic came in
Me
winning.
too.
Yeah, Magic came into the league winning. He was able to in his rookie year not only get obviously rookie of the year, but he was able to win an Finals MVP. Magic did something
Mhm.
that we hadn't even seen done before, from playing every position. Um, I mean, Magic's accolades are crazy. Like they go on forever. Let's see. He has three Finals MVPs,
Yeah.
five NBA championships total, two All-Star MVPs, 12 All-Star appearances, 10 All
Yeah.
NBA teams made. Um, he's led the league in career playoff assists. He's the model as far as, or one of the models, I should say, as far as just regular assists, period. Without a Magic Johnson, do we see players like LeBron, players that are big, but at the same time, they control and handle the ball and distribute, facilitators and things like that. So, you know, Magic was one of the blueprints for a LeBron type of player. And you said he number three for you
I
too?
agree. Hmm Major reason though is the 9 finals appearances in 12 seasons. Every year, damn near. In a couple of years, your second round, conference finals, but just every year you're just nonstop a threat to win the title.
That's a
That's
dominant run.
amazing.
And that, yeah, yeah. Every season, every time that he played, every season that he played, you had to be concerned with his team. You had to watch his team.
And some of his worst teams probably were better than Dominique Wilkins' best teams. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Things like that. So, and he was the determining factor of the 12 years. So that's what I liked about him. Um, well, then who do you got at 2?
So number two, I have his teammate actually. Number two, I'm going with Kareem.
Me too.
Hey, nice. All right. So Kareem, I mean, how do you make this list without having Kareem in the top three? Like I mean, these three, one, two, and three, the people that we have, I feel as though the list wouldn't be complete without them. But also, the accolades and the stats, back it. Kareem is a six-time career champ, two of which he won the Finals MVP. He's got six NBA MVPs. He's a 19-time All-Star, 15-time All NBA player. He's a 11-time All Defensive player. Um, he's averaged 20 plus points every season. Also a double double for 12 straight seasons. So, you add that with, like I said, the titles. How do you keep him out of there? How do you keep him off the top 10 list? It's not even get me started on how many career points he scored. He's at this point, he went to the league in 69. He's number two in total career points scored, correct?
Hmm.
So things like that, I had to put him in my top 10.
I think it was crazy if they would have kept blocks for his first couple years in the league. He'd probably have over 5,000 career blocks too, somewhere in there.
Another, yeah, another one of
Maybe
them two
2,000
legends.
career steals as well.
Hmm. So with that being said, I guess it's
But yeah, I
obvious
got
who number
Cream too
one.
just for that. Kwame Brown. Did you go with Kwame too?
So, man, you gotta quit playing on my man's name and acting like there was another better answer than Kwame. Who's more qualified than Kwame? Like, it's almost in his name. Kwame qualified.
Nobody.
You
I mean, exactly. Two
Uh,
Ks are okay.
so yeah, my number one. Um, no surprise. Once we made it through the list, it was obvious. Number one is going to LeBron James.
Hmm.
Other than his rookie season, he hasn't averaged less than 24 points a game. LeBron has led the league in
25.
25. My correction. LeBron has how
Hmm.
many MVPs does LeBron have? He has four MVPs, correct? Yeah,
Uh huh.
LeBron has four MVPs. He has three all-time MVPs. He leads the league in the most career points ever scored. Um, he's made six all defensive teams. Like LeBron's accolades, they stretch. They're going to continue to go on. Every year, LeBron's breaking some records. So, as a number one pick, he's done everything that you need him to do. He's came in, he got his rookie of the year like you needed him to. He's got his scoring titles. He's got his MVPs. He's got his All Star MVPs. He's got his Finals MVPs. He's got a title on every team he's played for, and that's three different teams.
You know what I don't like when they try to knock LeBron for the bubble title? That would work, but he's won other places. So, like, if he had only won in the bubble, then that is a knock. I can understand that. You'd be like, oh, well, he can't win anywhere else. And that could be a legit argument. But he's shown he can win. He can win without home court, he can win with it. So that's not really the same. Wouldn't you
I
agree,
mean,
Nick?
LeBron's even shown with his back against the wall, he can come back from a 3-1 deficit against arguably one of the best teams ever. Because they argued that the Warriors team was one of the best teams ever in creation. And LeBron was able to overcome that. So yeah, LeBron's also, in my opinion, people can say whatever they want to about him personally and whether or not they feel as though he is tough, but LeBron's style of play, it would have worked in any era. LeBron would have been good in the 90s. He would have been crazy in the 80s. Even crazier every decade that came before that. So I feel as though LeBron is one of those talents that no matter what decade, whatever you place him in, he is going to shine. He's going to be a star. He's going to excel and he's going to dominate. We've been seeing it
What do we do?
his
What
whole
do we do
career.
if we put eight? What do we do if we put 18-year-old LeBron at Naismith's first basketball game? Where are we at now in basketball?
What? If we put LeBron where?
At Naismith's very first game of basketball back in what 1893 or whatever that was.
LeBron he's gonna show them something that they obviously never seen, but it wouldn't even be able to be duplicated at that point in time. Like I'm not even sure if they were to
But
see
wouldn't be the standard of excellence?
the standard of excellence.
Wouldn't Yeah, because that's the one person that so we see that it can be done, we just can't do it, but we know it clearly can be done.
No, but I more so mean like sometimes people don't even have the mechanics, like physically, like they don't even know how to even do some of the stuff that's being done. And if he's the only player doing it, and it's like it's not even anybody close, it's like no bridge to like show. Like for instance, if you have like you have like a Tim Hardaway, a Rod Strickland, an Allen Iverson, a Kyrie makes sense, but a Kyrie in the '70s makes no sense. So I feel as though LeBron, everything LeBron brings when basketball was first created, that would have made no sense. That would have been like, whoa, like all we know how to do is this and this. We don't know nothing about this flying through the air. We don't know nothing about this spin move. We don't know nothing about, you know, these through the leg handles.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
don't you
like,
think that would develop the game faster with like, the between the leg handles, the different shots, the no look passes? Obviously, they understand the athleticism, so they'll try to do the best they can, but
not
that'll take a while to
necessarily
catch up
though.
or
I
whatever.
mean, if they called on, yes, to answer that question, if they called in, it definitely would have expanded it. And it would have elevated it, quicker. However, I don't know how quickly they would have caught on to that. Like you feel me? There, people still have to teach shooting,
Yeah.
and so and that's always been a part of the game. So I don't know.
Right. I got you. Well, that's it for us. We out. We ran over time. Oh, hey, just to let y'all
Oh,
know, we didn't realize about what daylight savings time because we're in Phoenix, so we don't ever change time. We have our very own time zone. It's called like Mountain Zone Phoenix. So yeah, we don't ever
yeah,
change
yeah.
time. So we will be on an hour earlier than what we were today. So still 10 p.m. Eastern, whatever. Unless you guys like this thing or whatever, leave a comment. Say no, go on. 11 p.m. Eastern like you did this time. Let us know what works best for you, and we
My
will do the
bad.
best to accommodate your situations. Until then, we're out.
All right.
Please like and subscribe.
Yes.
I'll